Welcome to the post-fight show for UFC 264. Yesterday, Dustin Poirier beat Conor McGregor in their trilogy via TKO. Gilbert Burns outpoints Stephen Thompson, 29-28 decision win, and Taito Iwasa gets knockout of the night against Greg Hardy. We talk about all that. Welcome to the MMA Roundtable. Mera naam hai Von Saxena. Joining me as always is Siddharth Singh, founder and head coach of CrossFit Fight Club, and Mr. Andrew Liu, MMA journalist, analyst, and commentator. Andrew, we can start with your impression of Conor McGregor right after the fight.
You're watching the fucking games. You're watching the fucking games. That was the single greatest line I've ever heard in a mixed martial arts contest ever. Pride, Strike Force, WEC, whatever. It's the greatest one line I've ever heard in MMA.
Sid, we were talking about dream scenarios for Conor in the pre-fight show. We were thinking like bahut lambi baatein, he was going to win and then he was going to fucking beat Chandler and then beat Oliveira and, trigger a Khabib comeback and shit like that. But did you see Conor, the motivated Conor that we were talking about who could achieve these things? Did you see any of that in however long the fight lasted?
I did, yeah. There are two different gears with Conor that we've seen in the last two fights. So I think he realized that in the second fight, maybe he was too laid back. There's too much respect, which allowed Dustin Poirier to dictate the terms, to get comfortable with him. In this fight, he came in extremely aggressive. And, just like we were speaking pre-fight, we thought that Conor's just going to rely on his boxing, only throw his punches. And he probably realized that he needs to mix it up. He needs to have more weapons. So this fight, he came in a lot more aggressive, a lot more kicks. He was pushing the pressure. So he was looking good, but maybe he pushed too hard and too fast. And then eventually, it got into a clinch, and it was Conor who sort of initiated the clinch, and then that guillotine went for that stupid guillotine, which you should never have gone for. And now I didn't really support anyone as such, but when I saw him try and get that guillotine, I was like, please don't do it. Don't do it. And he did it. He kept holding on to the neck. He fell down, and just Dustin Poirier is a high-level black belt guy. He's been a black belt for a long time, and he's defending the far arm. Conor had one hand through the neck, the other hand Dustin had blocked, so he couldn't finish it. And I was just holding my head and thinking, why is this going to the front? Why is he taking it to the ground? And I think that was sort of a strategic mistake, and it came back to haunt him.
It mirrored the exact same sequence of how Dustin Poirier lost to Khabib, right? Like he went for that guillotine, except that Dustin's guillotine was much tighter, much. It forced Khabib to shift his weight, shift his hips, roll to his back to pull the left arm out to break the choke. This was nothing. I mean, of course, there was that little bit where he's like, oh shit, I might have played myself. Like I saw the first fight interview where the guillotine got a little bit tight because the cage was too close, so he couldn't flip to the other side. But at the end of the day, the guy is a black belt, and he's rolled with people like Khabib, and he knows what it feels like to be against guys like that. He was going to get stopped by some, Irish guillotine. Not going to happen. Maybe a Brazilian one, like Charles Oliveira could have gotten it, but nah, not McGregor. And for all the gusto of I don't count submissions, only knockouts. Yeah, right, okay. Who's the first one to go for a submission? Who's the first one to clinch? He was getting outpointed on the feet as well. Even the leg kicks, if you really watch it carefully, he never really threw one calf kick. He threw leg kicks.
Leg kicks, yeah.
Yeah, he was throwing it to the thigh. Like a guy like Dustin, but you're not going to fuck him up with that. As soon as the distance moved from kicking to punching range, that straight left of Dustin was catching Conor, and that's when he initiated the clinch where you said, and it was pretty much all downhill from there once he attempted the guillotine. I don't know what it is with the guy. Like he doesn't know how not to cheat. Yeah. Every dirty trick in the book, like 3 fingers in a glove, man. You could see it. Like Dustin's arm was getting pulled like this with the fingers in the glove.
Yeah, he did that. He did that against Khabib as well. Yeah.
And Khabib is screaming at Khabib, like he's putting his fingers in my glove. He's screaming at him, and that's when he says it's only business. So people sort of misascribe that to the fight and the fear. No. It was that he put his hands into his gloves, man.
I think the only fight for me, that makes sense, and even commercially, I think it could work, is the third fight with Diaz.
It's with Diaz, yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's the only fight that makes sense. That's the only one he can win.
I don't think Conor has it in him, like to outpoint a fucking berserker like Justin Gaethje.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if you hear any of the Conor fans, they'll be like, why you guys shitting on Conor? And he didn't lose. It was a freak injury. But the fact is that before it was a doctor's stoppage, he was getting smashed. He was getting
And
absolutely
not just
smashed.
that, it's a very simple argument. Oh, doctor, stop it, this, that. Say the fight went on. Connor's like, oh yeah, fine, fuck it. I'm a jiu-jitsu saman. Let's fall on my back. Let's fucking play kuru guard. Let's play worm guard and shit. I don't need to use my ankles anymore.
oh, fuck
Justin
that.
Poirier
His foot was,
just done for ankle lock, dude. Like that's done.
dude, his
His
foot
foot
was
rip off.
hanging off. It was hanging off. He had no motor control on that foot. It was literally fucking hanging off. There's some speculation as to how he got that injury. Dustin thinks it was blocked leg kick on his knee. John Kavanagh, in an interview, said that it was on the elbow. And Conor, of course, in his post-fight interview, said it was no block. I don't know, he just stepped on it wrong or something. He released a video this morning saying that he's had surgery on it. So it's safe to say that he's not going to be back for at least this year. No, definitely not this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had a similar injury, but nothing. My tibia didn't break. My ankle got twisted. It was sprained, and I was out for 6 months. Like 6 months, it'll take you like 6 months minimum to start walking normally. But will you be able to kick with it, check with it? Fuck, man, it's a very, very difficult thing to think that he's going to be checking kicks.
Even if he stands and does it, it's going to hurt. It's going to. I mean, dude,
No, but Andrew, we have seen guys come back in the UFC at least from these kind of injuries, and pretty quick. Anderson Silva, and recently Chris Weidman also. I mean, he's not kicking with it, but he is walking around. Yeah,
he's walking around. I mean, dude, it's a very serious injury though. Although lucky that no ligaments torn, no tendons snapped. Like if that shit had happened and there was like some actual motor damage, bro, like that would have taken a year and a half to heal. Like
fucking crazy time to interview somebody, eh?
Yeah, you should have. That I don't agree. Interviewing someone who's just broken his foot, you feel bad for him. So he was pissed off with that, and he was in fucking pain because his leg had snapped off. So sitting there with a broken leg, which is hurting like hell, and you shove a mic in his mouth, what's he gonna say?
What's he gonna say, Andrew?
You want to see me fucking DMs? You want to see me fucking DMs? Doctor, stop it! You know that? I was boxing his head off. I was bleeding, boxing his bleeding head off. I mean,
did you see the photograph of Dustin's wife?
Giving him the finger.
Yeah, giving him the finger.
That's really bad, dude. Like, you shouldn't do that kind of stuff, man.
But the UFC wants that, right? That's
the problem.
That's fucking great for fucking business. Yeah.
Because look, the longer you are a casual fan, the more hardcore you become. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're a casual fan for like 5 years, the 6th or 7th year, you'll start really getting it.
Also, I think in those 5 years, 6 years, you start to associate yourself and connect yourself to other fighters, and you get to go on their journey with them. They're winning, and you see their family, you see their countdown show, and then you see them lose, and then you see them cry, and then so you're on that journey with them. So that in a way educates you into the life of the fighter, not just in the cage, but also outside the cage. This is something really interesting because I have one of my friends from school. He was on my boxing team. Man, he wrote a post, and it was an emotional post. Like he was almost crying and just giving up on the sport because he was, in a way, connecting to Conor in terms of your hard work and your coming from nowhere and succeeding in life and then working hard and expecting Conor to win. Because in a way, people are connecting to Conor and seeing somebody who's come from, like you said, living on welfare to now becoming a superstar, and they're connecting because maybe they can't do that in their life, but they're living it through Conor's eyes. The better Conor does, they feel like they've achieved something as well. And so when someone like Conor loses, he went into he was like, fuck, I don't want to be. He said, I'm not watching MMA for a while.
I've watched MMA for too long to feel like that. But I still remember like back in the day when I used to watch Kazushi Sakuraba was one of my favorite fighters, right? Like I have a few Japanese fighters that I'm like stands for, Hideo Tokoro, guys who have like losing records. Watching them get blasted like back in the days, my heart used to hurt. It really hurts, man. Like watching your heroes get fucked up.
The path for Poirier looks pretty clear now, right? In his post-fight backstage interview, he said that he'd like to fight for the championship at the end of the year, maybe in December.
This is the fight to make. Dustin versus Oliveira.
Darius looked really good in his last fight. Not title fight yet, but he looked so good on the ground last time.
Yeah. Against a guy like Tony Ferguson, especially.
Absolutely. I mean, like speaking about just about making it to title contention, but not quite there, is the co-main event: Thompson versus Burns. Andrew, you had mentioned that Wonderboy trains his wrestling with Chris Weidman. Do you think that Chris Weidman being out because of injury had,
Yes. I 100% believe that. I truly believe that he didn't have a bigger, stronger wrestler to really push him. Chris Weidman could have given him that defense, and because he didn't have that this camp, I think it was a little more difficult for him to just deal with the takedown threat of Burns. It didn't seem like a clean win for him, if I'm being very honest.
In the last round, there were some strikes to the back of the head as well. Had he got a point removed from that fight, I think he could have made it.
It would have been a majority draw. Because there was 29-28 cards, no? So it would be 28-28, so majority draw.
I think what Burns does from here is probably fight Leon Edwards. That I think is the fight to make.
Yeah, the Leon Edwards fight also, I think, would be very good. Like, I would love to see that fight. You know, Gilbert Burns' wrestling is very good, man. Like, I mean, he's worked at it. Like, his entries and his sort of single leg is very good. Like, he worked very hard to get Wonderboy to the ground. I mean, he got him. Yeah, it was a little boring. Like, he didn't do much. He just clamped on down. But like, if you know how Wonderboy is, you give him this much space, he'll take that much space.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to be very, very prudent while fighting a guy like Wonderboy. So I do commend Burns for his win. So like, hey, but look, good for him. It was a little bit of a boring main event, co-main event. But what really made up for it was the third fight on the card, which is the Tai Tuivasa and Greg Hardy fight. Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
Lasted all of 90 seconds, did it? Something like that.
Like less than a minute or something. Craziness. Like. Look, Hardy, if Greg Hardy was smart, he should have taken him down. But he's not smart. He decided to stand with this guy. Like,
no, but also, how good is Greg Hardy's ground game?
We don't know, but I'm sure it would have been good enough to hold Tai Tuivasa down.
I doubt it.
Right? Like,
I don't think so. I think he's got terrible ground game. I think he's training with Rashad and all, no?
Yeah.
So technically he should be well-rounded, but he's not shown anything in his last few fights, which makes us feel that.
Relatively new as well, right? So he's still got time to evolve if he sticks around.
Yeah, but he's. I mean, if you look at his record, if you look at his performances, the only reason why he's on the main card and Ryan Hall fight was not on the main card is because this guy is a ex-NFL superstar. So in the US, it's a big deal. We don't care because we don't watch it.
Yeah.
But I think he's sort of like a CM Punk sort of experiment that's been done.
It worked as well. I mean, I'm not saying it hasn't worked. He's
a much better athlete and an actual guy who's actually learned how to fight.
CM Punk is not an athlete. To fight in the UFC, you have to have something else, like something that separates you from all the other fighters on the planet. UFC 264 was, I mean, there were some other good fights on the card. Like, I liked the Carlos Condit fight as well. It wasn't as exciting as, but like it shows that old man has still got it. Like,
old man still got it. He's fucking signed new contract with UFC. Dude, it's so cool that he's back. He's back now when they're talking about bringing Nick Diaz back. I mean,
dude, I would love to see
those two fucking fought back in the day for the interim championship.
Yeah, I would love to see that fight being like, especially what it is like now. Nick has been gone almost 5 years, man.
5 years.
GSP beat your ass. Carlos Condit beat your ass. Like, a lot of guys beat your ass.
Let's hope that Condit fight happens sometime in the year now. That'll be pretty good to watch. I guess that concludes it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for watching the MMA Roundtable, our post-fight discussion for UFC 264. We're going to be back whenever the next card is, I guess. We might do like one show in the middle, combining like these 2-3 smaller cards, which are going to happen leading up to 265.
Yeah.
And we'll be back for that. So thanks again for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. My name is Bon Saxena. I have with me Siddharth Singh and Andrew Liu. Signing off, guys. See you on the next one.
Take care.